We have a date. We know the specs. We have a price. We know the games. Now let's pray to the pre-order gods that we can buy one. The Nintendo Switch 2 Direct was today, and we're all feeling the hype and cannot wait to get our hands on the console. Let's get excited together in this episode of the GoGCast right now.
Get ready for the Girls on Games podcast, your weekly dose of news, reviews, and everything video games. Always served with a good helping of hype and just a pinch of salt. And now, your host, Leah.
Hello and welcome to another Girls on Games podcast. My name is Leah. I'm the host of this show. This is episode number 488, and it's the All Nintendo Show. Why? Because the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct happened today. I want to say just Nintendo 2, but no, it's Nintendo Switch 2. And changing up our entire recording schedule, because what was the point of us doing a recording on Monday when this was happening on Wednesday and the podcast comes out on Thursday, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Joining me around this digital table today is Catherine. How you doing?
Hello, I am good. This morning was great. Nobody worked between 9 and 10 at Ubisoft Montreal. I am confirming it.
Joelle, how about you? I know you're not in video game world, but
No.
did you manage to step away from work in order to watch the Direct?
Yeah, so I have to have a certain amount of badge swipes, right, every week or whatever.
Oh, yes.
So I drove into the office, was in the office for 2 hours, left over lunch to come home, had meetings all the way up until we record. So I just feel lucky that I was able to gobble up as much information as I could today, because I was very busy. so
yeah. And a smorgasbord of information we got. This show today is going to be totally changed. So let me get through housekeeping. We'll do a really quick crew check-in and then get into the meat and potatoes, because I feel like we've had essentially just like a week of Nintendo noise in the best way possible. So as always, if you enjoy this show, you can subscribe. We're available on Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and Podbean. If you'd like to get some GOG merch, you can do that by going to designbyhumans.com/shop/girlsongames. Or maybe you'd like to give us a tip, maybe buy us a coffee. You can do that by going to our Ko-fi. That's ko-fi.com/girlsongames. Ladies, my week has been essentially just like working and playing 2 Point Museum. There's something about that game right now that's scratching the itch that's even taking me away from Assassin's Creed. I just gave into it, and it's just all I've been doing. I don't know if it's something about the quirkiness of it, not having to really deal with a story with, intense work things going on, but like, god damn, that game is good. Kat, what have you been at?
I've had the weirdest time.
Yeah?
Ever. So last week, for my project, my production manager, my boss, who takes care of UI art, and the programming lead who takes care of UI programming, they're super besties, right? And they decided to go for a week in Mexico. And they were like, I was the point person for everything UI.
Oh, boy.
Lucky you.
Yeah, so I had a weird week at work where I basically was like, okay, I am not this kind of person. There's a reason I'm not a manager. I am not this kind of person. But I was like, I need to organize my week around getting just people bothering me or interrupting me or asking questions. So I was like, I didn't prepare anything very intense in terms of tasks. Like I had a few bugs to submit, things like that. Do a bit of research on the side for to prepare a feature. I was like, okay. And at one point, bless his heart, I love him so much, the senior UI programmer asks me if I'm the one setting priorities, and the only thing I managed to answer was like, I'm just doing my best. And basically, I sat down with him, and he was like, all right, I got blocker here. I've got to depend. Da, 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 da. And I was like, all right, well, and I set his priorities, and I was like, hey, I did that. I was like, okay. And I'm like, and if ever something changes and you feel you should be working on something else, I trust you, bro. You've been doing this for 15 years. And then I got no insider information about this, but the news that came out on Thursday kind of like threw a stick in the wheel.
Right.
Yes, so the basically Ubisoft taking the 3 brands that make the most money, putting it in a subsidiary so they could get Tencent to invest like 25% of the value of that subsidiary. Basically, it was a way for them to get money without selling shares to the point that they lose ownership or they lose the majority ownership.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay.
So that's what it's just like when you work on a game like For Honor, you're like, I knew we weren't the favorite child. You just didn't have to be so fucking loud about it. But it's like, and essentially nobody knew because they can't tell you this because of insider trading.
Right. Yeah.
Which, again, all public information, historically speaking, Yanis Marat was found guilty and fined for insider trading. The previous director of Ubisoft Montreal and all of Ubisoft Canada. All of Ubisoft Canadian Studios, sorry. It's a different, anyway, big corporate structure. So because of that, like, nobody knew because they had to keep it so secretive. Exactly, to curb insider trading. So everybody learned while they were, like, doing the business call, and everybody just kind of, like, the office just kind of, like, grinded to a halt. And, like, my producer had to, like, grab everybody, and it was Thursday, so it was an on-site day. Grab everybody, put us in a meeting room, be like, hey, so I just learned this with you guys. And being like, all right, like, I ain't got no answers. They're going to book syncs and whatever and stuff, like, whatever happens on Friday, just, like, attend the things, watch the thing. And he's like, and I have news, I'll come back to you. So it soured the mood for the rest of the week. Friday is usually my focus day. And it was just, I was getting basically every like hour and a half or something, I had to tune into some stream for a nothing burger from corporate being like, hey, so we did this. And I'm like, yo, that could have been an email. So because of that, I crashed hard over the weekend. I kind of healed myself by playing video games, but also turning to personal projects. Because even playing a game, I was like, video game industry.
Yeah.
So, like I cooked up a storm. I was working on personal projects that I haven't touched in ages, things like that. And that helped.
Good.
And that's basically all I did. And this week I had to move things around, of course, because of our recording on Wednesday. So I went to the gym 2 days in a row. Not forgetting that my current program is a full body program. So if I don't have a rest day, I'm just destroying myself. So I went to the gym Sunday and Monday. 0 out of 10 do not recommend. Like the Monday night was hard. That one was rough. But today was finally a lot of joy. Like it was starting to pick up. Like, last night, Tuesday, we had a game of Numenera that we do every other week. So it was a game night. It was great. Woke up this morning, fucking Nintendo Switch. Made me eat my words because I was like, I'm not pre-ordering unless there's Mario Kart. And they were like, we heard you, bet. Yep. And then tomorrow there's a kind of like a internal event at work, and we're gonna have like a bit of fun. And I'm coming home late, and because I'm coming home late, I told Pascal, I was like, maybe we could do takeout. So we're gonna have Haitian food tomorrow.
Yum.
And everything is on the up and up.
Good.
But I had the weirdest fucking week last week.
Yeah.
It was just, thank God for the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct to give myself back faith into video games and just reminding me that, yeah, I do love what I do and I love playing these things.
Yeah.
Because right now it was just like financials and anxiety. And do I need to be looking elsewhere? I probably don't. I probably don't. But
well, you're through it. on the other side of it. And
Yes.
now we have to look forward to trying to pre-order Nintendo Switch 2s. Joelle, how about you? How was your week?
It was good. It was good. I played hooky on Friday, and
Good
I didn't
for
play.
you.
I didn't play hooky. I took the day off, but like, I took vacation. Went to the Minnesota Zoo. It was really nice weather for the zoo, and the bears were not out yet, but got to see all the a lot of cute fuzzy animals. So that was nice and a really good day. And then I have kind of picked up back on my track to play pickleball. The bougie gym that I go to, they have really, really nice courts. And they have like beginner time slots like chunked out. And also you could reserve the court. So kind of started getting back into that. And there is a tennis/pickleball store that's local, like not a chain, like sporting goods store. So I wanted to support them. So I went over there and I got pickleball shoes. Well, they're court shoes. So they're for like tennis courts and stuff like that. They're super cute. They're from K-Swiss, and they're kind of like a limey green mixed with like white. And they have some like iridescent decals on them, and they're really flashy. And I'm going to be
I think you just said two things that Kat and I like.
Yeah.
Neon lime or yellow and
Yeah.
iridescence.
Yeah. They're sick looking. I'll have to post a photo of them in the Discord. And then I had to buy socks to match them.
Of course.
Of course, because
Cute socks.
Cute socks to match the cute pickleball shoes. And the people there were so nice, and I just felt like it felt so good to go to like a local shop and to support kind of like a niche thing. So and it was just, they're really great. It's called the Tennis and Pickleball Store. It's in St. Louis Park in Minnesota. They were wonderful. They had a really good selection of shoes. They had a huge selection of tennis rackets, and they had like on one wall it was all tennis rackets, on the other wall it was all pickleball paddles. So all the pickleball paddles you could want, bags, accessories. They even had the really cool hats with the cutout on the top for your ponytail.
Oh, yeah. I have a hat like that.
Yeah, and they
They're
had them.
great.
They had them in all these colors. Like
wow.
they probably, I think, had like 15 different colors of these hats. So I was like, well, I'm gonna probably come back and buy a hat. But yeah, so that was exciting to kind of get going and get ready to do. And then yeah, otherwise I just kind of chilled, which was really nice. It was a really nice, like, cool, chill weekend. So
Excellent.
Yeah, looking forward to. I have a really busy weekend coming up, so I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, it's things are starting to pick up and stuff's starting to happen, especially outside, as the weather starts to get nicer and things like that. Yay for April, though usually it's a lot of rain. All right.
It's been terrible here, the weather on top of everything, to be honest.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet.
It's been weird because there was a
been
crazy
really
ice storm too. So
Yeah.
and I think my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law are still without power. So
Oh no.
yeah. All right, ladies, we have to get into this Nintendo Switch stuff. Nintendo Switch 2, that is. Let's take a wee pause so that we can put maybe an ad spot and a jingle in here, and then we'll come right back with it. Cool?
Cool.
Nintendo Switch 2. Today, we got to sit through and watch the Direct. It was an hour and a bit, I want to say. A few technical glitches throughout the middle of it. I don't know, did you guys experience that where like the stream stalled? First, the audio and the video started to split, and then the stream got stuck.
Oh.
Yeah, and I was
yeah.
like, what is going on?
Of course, during an announcement where they decided to not do a voiceover over the Japanese, but just have subtitles.
Yeah.
So all
Yeah.
we heard was like Final Fantasy VII Remake, and then a bunch of Japanese were like, "Cool story, bro." We'll see.
Gonna have to watch that after.
Trailer. Yeah, but
Yeah.
thank you for at least we threw context. And the
Circle
title.
back.
Yeah.
But I feel like this today was almost like Now, I don't know if this was intentional to get the hype up, but like when they had officially announced the Nintendo Switch 2 and they said that they were going to have this event today, I was like, good Lord, that's forever away. And then like all of a sudden it crept up and they shadow announced last week that the next day, I think it was on Wednesday, then they said that on Thursday there was going to be a Nintendo Direct.
Yep.
And we were like, what? And they were like, yeah, we're going to talk about Switch stuff. And we're like, huh, okay. And like that kind of came out of nowhere. So I got to watch that back. I didn't get to watch it live because work. And I was like, I reserved this morning. So I was like, I can't do this 2 weeks in a row. There's too many things going on. But yeah, that event, that Direct, which I kind of didn't expect too much out of, actually had a lot of content.
To the point where I was like, really? Like a week before new hardware and new library, I was like, the Switch, when I saw this Direct, I was like, the Switch 2 has backward compatibilities. Like, confirmed. Yeah. Like, they're not leaving some of these announcements just on Switch 1, knowing they have a new console this summer. Fuck that.
And the announcements, too, like, let me just talk about like the headlines when it comes to games. Like, Dragon Quest Remake. We got to see Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. Rift the Necrodancer is coming to the console. We got some more on Pokemon Legends ZA. Like, holy crap. Marvel Cosmic Invasions as well. Like, it was like a lot. I think we also got some of the teas which we saw that got reaffirmed today, too. Like, Witchbrook coming this holiday. Like, that's a game that, like, everybody's been clamoring from because it's from the folks who published Stardew Valley. Not the developer, but the folks who published it. The developer's actually doing the Haunted Chocolatier. But, like, this game, like, nobody's been hearing about it for the longest time. And then all of a sudden, like, bam, it's coming holiday. It's like, what? And remember, like, a week ago when I was talking about, like, Fantasy Life, I was like, I heard all of a sudden that's coming like the day we leave for Mexico. I was like, what? Like that came out of nowhere because I got delayed and then no one said anything. And then all of a sudden here it is. Like we're getting it. It's like in a month and a bit. Like so much stuff.
Yeah.
Before the main event.
Yes. Yep. Basically Nintendo being like, hey, you still got the unspent game vouchers? We got you, bud.
Pardon me. So, like, one of the other things, because, like, we're all, like, clamoring, trying to figure out, pardon me, how backwards compatibility and all this kind of stuff is going to work, considering, like, there's going to be a lot of people who stretch over the two consoles. Like, especially when we start talking about the price of the new console when we get there. There's going to be a lot of people still on Switch and then people playing on Switch 2 at the same time, wanting action to get onto the same games, wanting to share things. Plus, like, your old Switch still works. Like, if you got family members or significant others or whatever else, like, you still want to be able to use it. It's not like dead hardware. So they announced this virtual game cards in order for you to be able to share your games between friends, family members, because like it's hard now. Everybody buys things digitally and you can't just say, hey, I'm finished this game. You should try it. Here you go, and hand them a physical object so they can play. So the concept here is that you essentially can like rent out your game for 2 weeks. Now you'd have to, like, if you want to keep going, you have to reauthorize the rental or whatever, the sharing to family members, friends, whoever, someone else who has a Nintendo Switch, and they can play that game over that time like if they had it themselves. You can't play it, right? It's essentially locked for you. Like just like if you had a physical disc or a cartridge, you can't do that. But at least it offers up the ability to be able to share that game with somebody so that they can give it a try. That was always the problem when we started GOG, back when we'd get like review codes versus review discs or cards. We'd be able to share the cards and discs around between the teams so everybody get a chance to play it. We could never do that with digital assets. This is kind of interesting. I'm really curious to see how it works. Kind of like, I kind of feel like it's like when you have to digitally connect to your, like, you download music on Spotify and you have to reconnect every 30 days to authorize it, or on Netflix or something like that. Or even when you're, like, sharing within your Steam library, too. I imagine it works something similar. Mike doesn't really play Steam, so I haven't had much experience with that. Kat, you've experienced with that with Pascal, right?
Yeah, it's basically you log in to your Steam account on the person's computer and you say, yeah, you can have access. However, you can't play the games while their account is at where they're playing a game.
Right.
So they've now made a new family account.
Oh, okay.
Where you can make a group of, like, I don't know, up to 6 people. Mm-hmm. And you can play the library even though the person is also playing a game.
Okay.
I don't know how it works on authentication and things like that. I'm pretty sure they made that because of Steam Decks. I figure like everybody has their Steam account, everybody has their computer, but I think in terms of families, you probably just have one Steam Deck to share. So it sounds that they did that for that.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, and then on a PlayStation, you can do it with a PlayStation Plus account. You can console share.
Okay.
So you can share your console's library with another person that you're friends with, and they can play. I think some of the games are locked where they don't allow that, like some of like the really big titles. But most of the other games, and like after they've been on the market for so long, they open that up so you can go into your friend's console and play the game and like grab the game and have it and like download a. It's not a copy of it, because if you stop sharing it with that person, that game goes away because you didn't buy it. But they, I've used it and it works really well. So it's like I can go into a friend's library and play their games. So
that's cool.
Nice. Yeah,
that's cool. I think this is good. This is the next evolution on the Nintendo front, because they had nothing of the sorts. Like I can only think of like families where you'd end up like everybody wants to play Pokemon, and then you have to buy consoles and in editions of Pokemon and everything, right? In order for like 2 kids to play at the same time because they both want to play at launch, right? To make it fair.
Or Animal Crossing, where like your island was tied to the actual console.
Correct.
Yes. Yeah, to the console. Yeah.
That's how they managed to sell a lot of Switch lights.
Yeah. Truth.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure.
So yeah, that one was pretty interesting. So that all happened on the 27th, along with this one was interesting. So they also announced that Nintendo was making its own news app where you can get updates about what's new and hot and fresh and coming for Nintendo products. And it's called Nintendo Today. I downloaded the app when we got it. It didn't have much outside of, hey, the event is happening now on the 2nd, and it has a little calendar. It has a cool widget so you can see things pop up, like all that kind of stuff. But then the next day, the 28th, like out of the blue, in the app, was an announcement about the Legend of Zelda live action film that's going to have a worldwide release on March 26, 2027. Like, just out of the blue. Like, not even like, no, not on Twitter, not on Facebook, not in a news article, whatever. This is where they dropped it. First off, I totally forgot they were doing a live action movie. And now it has a release date. This is craziness.
I don't know. Nintendo, they just really do whatever they want, because they're just like, oh, you haven't heard from us on new games for like 4 months. Well, strap in, because we're going to give you everything within a week.
Yeah.
And we're also going to remind you of the things that we were doing, but you still have to wait a long time for. I don't know. It's just like, it's so goofy. It's so funny.
It's wild. And like all of that, like, I haven't been like kind of giddy or excited or whatever, or like anticipation about like, because we do so many of these where you watch these showcases and whatever, and they're like, cool, that's new, and I'm excited, whatever, where you're actually like excited about it. They dropped so much good crap over the past few days that like Monday and Tuesday, I was just like, okay, I am excited about Wednesday morning, because they got to have bangers if this is what they don't put in the press conference.
Yeah.
And here we are today.
Yeah.
We're just a few hours past, still reflecting upon what we saw. There's still going to be news popping up because, like, not everything was in the directs. There was the treehouse that happened. There's going to be special directs, game specific coming up. Yep. There's just so much happening in the lead up to the Nintendo Switch 2 actually launching that, like, it's really exciting. I love this time of these moments when we're gamers and we're excited about something and feeling the hype. Like, everybody's like, oh, hype, and everything. I enjoy being excited. There's so much crap in the world. It's nice to be excited about something.
Yes. I was actually thinking about that too. I was like, this is so nice to watch something and feel not totally, utterly depressed and helpless and crushed and what the fork every 2 seconds. I was more like, yay. And I was like, wow, I haven't like I was just like, it's been a hot minute since I was like, oh, I can't wait until this happens. It's just like, okay, so I don't know, like the beacon of hope that Nintendo is bringing for
Thank God
Q2 of this year.
I've been in a constant state of yay! I will never financially recover from this. Yay! The whole time, because after like people were looking into prices of prices of pre-orders, things like that. Yeah. The whole trade war is still happening, so who knows what's going to do? Like,
who knows
in prices and taxes and pre-order? I'm just like, but it's just in the back of my head, just like, can you really? I was like, shut up. Shut up.
Look, there are some things in life when I'm just like, because even like, Kat and I are prepping to go to Mexico and all that kind of stuff, and I'm just like, you know what? I want to treat my damn self because I'm living in a really weird time, and God only knows what's coming. So you know what? YOLO! That might be from 2008, but yo fucking low.
Listen, and it's like I made the joke in our For Honor like casual talk shit group chat, but it was barely a joke, which was like not us waiting to see if we get a bonus this year, like a game bonus this year, to see if we can afford Nintendo games and hardware. But like a lot, like as soon as we get news of that thing, like pre-orders are going to go.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah. Yeah. True. All right. So let's get in the meat and potatoes of all this. June 5th, 2025. Is when the console is going to announce. And like, I was dealing with I had booked myself off, but I was dealing with a little bit of a work emergency at the same time as this was going on. And I totally missed the announcement of the date. And I'm like, where's the date? And everybody's like, June 5th. And I'm like, hold on. What did I miss? But yeah, June 5th. That's not that far away.
No, I know.
A few days
it's
after
so
we get
close.
back, man.
So close.
Yes, it might. Yeah. It is.
It's like,
holy shit.
It's a week. We get back on the 30th, I think.
Holy shit, you're right. Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Exciting.
I'm hoping,
very exciting.
I'm hoping there's like a batch for launch and then there's a batch for Christmas. So if I miss the summer batch, I can get into the Christmas batch.
Oh yeah, you'll get it this batch.
Yeah, you're gonna get it.
You're
this
gonna
batch.
do it. You'll do it.
I think they're doing a lot to curb a lot of the
we'll get into that for sure.
Yeah.
But price point might stop a lot of people. We'll get into that too. First, let's not put ourselves down and think about our credit card bills that are coming. Let's talk about the games. First, right off the get-go, we knew it was going to be part of this.
Yep.
Mario Kart
Woohoo!
World.
We get a brand new Mario Kart game.
Yes, with
How long
new
has it
things.
been?
With new things.
Mario Kart 8 came out for the Wii U. That was like a decade ago.
Remember when we saw it in 2013?
Yes.
At E3?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Remember?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. That makes me feel so old.
And we were talking about like the game share and stuff, and that kind of like reminded me that at one point I was sitting on the couch at my mom's place, and we had 2 DSs, and Pascal and I were using that little like game share thing where if somebody has a cartridge, you can play, and we would play Mario Kart 7, and we would talk about how the shit Mario Kart 8 is gonna be, and that was fucking 10 years ago. And we didn't get a new Mario Kart for the Switch. They just grabbed Mario Kart 8 because I was one of the only idiots that bought a Wii U and actually played Mario Kart 8. And then they just put that game on the Switch and they put extra content in. They were like, here you go, play the fuck out of this game. And I respect that because it was the best Mario Kart ever. It was a great game, amazing, 10 out of 10. But I am happy. I said I was going to wait. I said I was going to pre-order. And then they're like, hey, launch title and bundle with the Mario Kart game you've been waiting for a decade. I'm like, fuck you. All right.
Yeah.
Take my money.
Putting a reminder.
The stuff in this that they announced. I love it. Someone wrote this in chat. I don't know exactly who did. Maybe Kat, it was you. It does look like Forza Horizon Mario Kart.
It was either like Albar or Darth or whatever, but it's like I was thinking as I saw it in chat, I was typing Forza Horizon MK in our show notes.
Love that.
Yep.
You know, how do you augment an already awesome game? Well, you throw a daytime and weather cycle into the system to really mess with your plans. Yeah. How about going off track?
Yeah, the open world aspect of it. I like when it first started, I immediately was like, "Is this like an open world Mario Kart?" I was like, "Okay."
Like,
wow.
I can only imagine. Like, I would not have even have thought of that. Like, how do you go beyond the racing and how good Mario Kart 8 was? To bring you off the track seems so logical, yet so mind-blowing. All at the same time, I can only imagine the nuggets of cool stuff we're going to find around the world. And the map looks so cool. So cool. I feel like this Direct was a huge... like Nintendo was like, we hear you. We understand all the feedback that you gave us during, you know, the dark times during COVID, because like I feel like a lot of what they gave us was like, oh, you want to be together more with your friends in these games, like we got you, and we're gonna like give it to you in a, you know, huge title that we have never done this before. And I was like, this is like chef's kiss. I thought like, yes, like I want to zoom around with my buddies and like take photos and just like the social aspect of it to have more connection like in this game rather than just the competitive side, but a camaraderie and like if you just don't want to race, because I could also see too, like, you know, one thing, like Mario Kart's such a staple in some sort of community and family gaming, right? Like it's like, oh, I'm gonna whip my, you know, kid's butt in Mario Kart, or like I remember when I was dating during COVID, like a few online dates that I did, quote unquote, it's like we played Mario Kart. Like that's what we did because we weren't going to meet up in person. And so like this is so cool because if you're a parent that wants to participate but you're just trash at a racing game because you just maybe you didn't do it or you're not very good at it, you can just zoom around like with people and like go see the landscapes and go enjoy a sunset, or, you know, go to Yoshi's burger joint. I don't know what it is, but like, you know, go get a Yoshi cone or like whatever. And I just think it's really, really cool that they're expanding the utilization of the characters and of the socialization aspect of it. It's just really smart. Speaking of social and camaraderie, let's go from 8 people driving to 24.
Holy
a horde.
shit.
A horde.
Do I know 24 people? The whole Discord channel is in there. No, our Discord channel is bigger than that. But yeah. And then the whole knockout tour where you can just race across the world without a break. That's when it was truly like Forza Horizon.
Yeah. No, they have that in Horizon.
Yeah.
I remember I used to love doing those like long ass races that take like a whole 10 minutes and you do all of the fucking map.
Yeah.
Fucking
Crazy.
love those.
And like that was just the start. So like they hooked us in pretty good with Mario Kart World. And then they were like, okay, so you're playing this game, whatever. How are you communicating with these people? How about a game chat feature? Hello, Nintendo. Welcome to 2025. But at the same time, I love how they integrated it.
Let's just copy Discord and put it straight.
Yeah, it looked like Discord. Lord. And then, of course, when they're showing it off, they're showing off like a big screen version of it so everybody can see it right off the bat. But like, you know, it's not just taking over your entire screen. You can minimize it. Yeah, you have a new button on the controller called the C button, which stands for chat. Go figure. You hit that button and it opens it up. You can chat with your friends through the console itself or connect a headset. You can also purchase a Nintendo Switch 2 camera and do video chat and actually have your face in the game in cases where you're playing Mario Party, which is kind of neat. It does require an online membership, as every other service does. Are we surprised? No. And of course, it has a compatibility with the parental control app because got to keep them kids safe on Nintendo platforms.
Yeah, 100%.
Pretty cool. I saw that in the U.S., the camera that you can purchase is like $50, so I didn't get a chance to check the Canadian price yet. But I didn't think that was too bad. Curious to see if you can like replace it with another webcam or something like that. I'm sure everybody's going to be testing that later.
Yeah, for sure. And how many webcams do we all have now at this point? Like,
seriously,
if you're at an office job, like you have at least 2 probably.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be. I don't know. I don't know how they would also make it proprietary, but I don't know. It'll be interesting.
It's a USB-C port.
Yeah, I just like I don't know how you.
Yeah,
they can block it through software. Like,
yes, true.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's how they do it. But it's like when I saw that, I was like, "This is 100% like not for
us,
not for us, or not for, for social. This is for parents.
Yes, this is for parents or people who are just like truly like in the beginnings of this and wanting to play and getting into Nintendo and online gaming and things like that. But I do think it's pretty freaking cool with the way they integrated into Mario Party so that like you can see the faces of the character of the people in their spots and stuff. Yeah. So that was really cool.
Good internet.
Yeah,
usually their online stuff is not great.
Well,
so
it even looked a little like you could share your stream and stuff or watch where other people are playing. That even in the example looked kind of frame rate laggy. So to be anticipated because I mean, even without like not on a Switch like that takes some capabilities on the hardware and the internet at the same time.
Having like 4 streams up at once. Now, of course it was going to be laggy as fuck and have like frame rate issues. I think they did it so the console wouldn't self-combust, to be honest.
Setting expectations early.
Yes. And then on top of that, they talked about game share. So if you have one game, you can share it with 4 players, local co-op with multiplayer multiple consoles or when online play. I don't know if that means like if I have a copy of Mario Kart World and want to play with you guys, I can grab you into a group and then we can all play together. Or if it has to be that we're all together doing it, I'm not. Or if it's just we all have our own copy and doing it. That's what I was a little confused about, especially the local.
Yeah, it says that up to 3 players can play with you on a game you purchase if they don't own it.
Okay,
so it was like that thing, like I was saying, like how we were playing Mario Kart 7 on the Nintendo DS, where you can kind of like download a little installer or something. So I'm guessing, considering they're doing the cartridge share, the digital cartridge share, where you can just kind of like lend a game to somebody, it must be that, because it said that like up to 4 people can play with one game, local or online.
All right. Then they got into hardware. Yes. And of course, we were all super curious about that because we know the Switch, the original Switch, was built on older hardware even when it came out, and it is showing its age.
It was built on a bad Android tablet. Let's be honest.
So
no. Listen, I love you, Nintendo. You do a lot of good things. You actually keep your brands alive. That's why you make good money. And that hardware was actually like revolutionary. But the actual like tablet part, screen part, holy shit, bud.
True.
Maybe the OLED was better. I didn't upgrade to the OLED.
I didn't either.
I didn't either. I
I'm
should
still
have, but
operating on the one that I got for review in 2017.
amazing.
It's still alive, still kicking.
Yep.
Old Betsy. Yeah, she's still going. All right. I'll just run through a laundry list of stats and stuff that we learned. So it's 1080p, 120 frames per second in HDR. I imagine that is docked.
Yes,
No,
that is.
That's in the the
handheld.
console itself, handheld.
That's the handheld.
Oh,
but-
and then it's 4K when it goes up to dock. Okay.
exactly. But it
Oh,
also
I thought
said,
it. Oh, okay.
It also said that with compatible games.
So I
That's
guess that
true.
means that the game has to be in 4K. If the game is not in 4K, it's not going to display in 4K.
Exactly. And if
Right,
the game doesn't
right.
support HDR, and if your TV doesn't support HDR, if the game you're playing is FPS locked, like a lot of games are 30 FPS locked, that kind of stuff. But
So the 120 FPS is really good if you play, like you use your monitor, your computer monitor for it rather than a TV.
most likely, but like that's the actual screen when you play handheld on the console.
Okay.
It can go up to 120 FPS. That's what they said, which is honestly kind of makes sense considering like how even phones are starting to get like high refresh rate screens, and you can get pretty decent FPS playing mobile games. Like the phones were knocking the Switch out of the water for years. I was like, all right, finally. I mean, it seems to be slightly on par with like the Rogue Ally and the Steam Deck.
Yeah.
I think they're like 720p, 1080p with like 60 to 120 FPS as well.
Yeah, they're definitely 120.
Okay.
For sure. Yeah.
The Joy-Cons are no longer slide-on devices. They're actually attached via magnets. Now, we learned that before in the initial event, or the initial kind of... Was it a conference or a direct when they showed us off the Switch, or was it just a drop? I'm trying to
It was
remember
just-
now.
It was just a trailer.
Video trailer, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
There are larger buttons and sticks on the device. So for those folks with larger hands having a hard time kind of pressing those tiny little buttons, things are a little bigger now. The Joy-Con can be used as a mouse. I think this is one of the most interesting features about the console, considering we then ended up seeing games like Civ 7 that are coming to it that I don't think you should play that with any other input device besides a
Yeah.
mouse.
Yeah.
I mean, they support controller because they ported to console. But
I know,
think
but
for the Switch 2, you can have the best of both worlds. You can pick.
choices, and if you're not in a place where you can put your Joy-Con down to use it like a mouse, you can use the controllers. There's a better built-in speaker and audio. That was obviously shown up because of the microphone with the chat.
For game chat, yeah.
Yes, they talked about that. 3D sound, a larger, sturdier stand.
Thank God.
Yeah, that thing is so sad. It just sits
is
there and it's
sad.
just like, don't do it. Like trying to play that thing on an airplane. If you're like any little bit of turbulence
Oh,
or
I
something, it's
know.
like slam down. I'm like, can I just
know.
prop it up with a book? Like,
Yeah.
And also,
Yeah,
it
it needs
wasn't
help.
adjustable. This one is adjustable.
yeah, thank
Yep.
goodness. Yeah.
Yep.
So it was always stuck like almost straight up. So you're sitting there on the airplane trying to play something and it's like way too close to you.
Yep.
Yeah. 2 USB-C ports on it.
How generous.
Yeah.
256 gigabytes of internal storage.
Again, not enough,
Fuckingly.
Still not enough, but again,
Yeah.
very generous.
New red cartridges, also better storage with data transfer. Micro SD EX cards only for faster read write. That's if you want to add in more space. I highly recommend doing that
Yep.
if you are using mostly digital downloads.
But you will have
These
to
games
buy,
are getting big now.
Yeah, but you also will have to buy a new card.
Yep.
Yes,
They don't
you-
support all micro
Nope.
SDs.
No,
That's why I
just-
was like, the
It has to
EX.
be
buy a new card.
It has to be that one in particular. I was watching Austin John Play's video earlier, and he was talking about the SD cards. Like there's a Nintendo branded ones, but you can get equivalents on Amazon for like all the different SD card makers anyway. So like
Yeah, it
you
just
don't
has-
have to buy the Nintendo one.
No, it just has to be an EX one, and I mean, for me, like I'm gonna get as much storage as I possibly can because I only want to do one, and so I might try to go for a terabyte, and I'm just like, I immediately have to spend like another at least $150 to get my
You never
storage.
know. Maybe it'll go down in price. Who knows?
Well,
Yeah, I know.
I don't.
Where
It's
we are
Liberation
right
Day,
now,
Leah.
yeah.
I don't know.
I think when the console comes out, it's going to do like GPUs. They're just going to go up in
Yes.
price and
Yeah.
they're really hard to find until you
Yep.
sit on your ass and wait a year or two for them to normalize
Yep.
again.
Or buy one now and have it ready to go.
That's exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do it like we'll do it next week probably.
4K supported dock with built-in fan for better temp control. Hopefully, no more melting ones.
Yeah.
Backward compatible with some Switch games, digital and physical. So that's pretty interesting. And a new Pro controller with extra mappable buttons and an audio jack, including that C button. There's a lot of information there.
Yes.
But essentially pretty much what we needed to know about the system that, we didn't know yet. So that's great.
Yeah, and it's basically like the way they were like, yeah, we added a fan. I'm like, oh yeah, that's how you're gonna get this small thing to pump out like 4K for like fucking games like Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. You need it. You need
need
it. When
it.
we start
Yep.
talking about the games that are coming, it will make sense why there's
Yeah.
fan.
So now your Switch dock might sound like an airplane taking off, much like my gaming laptop when I launch a game build, just like I was like, yeah, welcome aboard.
Now, this is the point when they were announcing stuff and I was tied up in work things. Switch 2 Tour, is that essentially like an app to kind of like bring you through the console? Like it comes on the console to kind of teach you about all
No,
the
it
features?
doesn't come on the console. It's you have to pay for it.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Think Assassin's Creed Discovery Tour,
Okay.
but about your console and about Nintendo shit.
Okay.
So unlike Astro's Playroom or whatever, which I think came with the PlayStation.
Oh
it
yeah,
came with it.
100%. Astros,
Came with it.
Yeah, it came
Yeah.
with it. Came
So
with the
this is
console.
more like a tech demo with like mini games
But you have to pay for it.
that you have to pay for.
So weird.
So what was the one that came on the Switch the first time round?
Nothing.
One, two,
With all the
Switch?
silly games on it. No, I'm pretty sure 1-2 Switch. Yeah, 1-2 Switch.
Yeah,
came with
1-2
it. That was a
Switch.
pack-in, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a package.
Yeah, that
Oh,
was
I
a
thought it
pack-in,
was
but that was
separate.
essentially what it was.
Okay.
So they're gonna make you pay for that?
Yes.
That's
I don't
Choices.
understand. Like I was thinking about it, and I'm like, what is why? I was just
You've
why?
never played a Switch before, so in order to train you on what this device does, buy a game.
Yeah, and it like shows you stuff, like it explains to you how the whole like magnetic system works, and gets you like like basically stuff you could probably find if you are good at looking up patents online.
Yeah.
I was just like,
I
okay,
guess.
cool story, bro, but
Hopefully it's like $10 or $5 or $1.
I hope it's peanuts.
$1, Bob.
Yeah, $1, Bob. $1 indeed.
Because it's the kind of thing where I'm like, I'm going to learn about all these features by playing games that use them. Mm-hmm. And
Well,
the
yeah.
tutorial's telling me how to use, let's say, like the mouse version of the Joy-Con.
There's also a
like
thing
game
called
tutorial.
There's also a thing called YouTube.
Well, yeah, it
Also-
just feels a little icky to me. I'm like, this feels a little like corporate, like
Yeah.
icky.
Yeah.
But
That's a
whatever.
choice. Yeah.
it was a choice.
That was a choice, yes.
But you know what's not a choice, or maybe too much choice, is the amount of games that were announced for this thing.
So many, so many.
They
All
basically
right.
told us there were 3 types of games, right?
Right.
Switch 1 games that will be compatible with the Switch 2. Straight up Switch 2 games that are out for the Nintendo Switch 2. And then Switch 2 editions of original Switch games, where you're going to be able to to pay for an upgrade. Let's say you have Tears of the Kingdom. I'm guessing you're going to pay around $10.
Actually,
you know.
I
facts.
was watching. So
Oh.
they buried the lead on a lot of this stuff.
Yes,
So
yes.
Thank God for Justin John Plays and me watching videos just before this before we did this. I don't remember what site he saw it on. There was a video, maybe it was in the Treehouse, but he was watching something, and they announced that if you pay for the Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion piece, because you know how you can do a Nintendo Switch Online and then there's Nintendo Switch Online plus expansion. If you do the expansion one, it's part of it for the games that they've talked about today. I don't know if it's going to be all of them, but that was in an event and he showed that clip. And then they also, because they were talking about specifically Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, and then apparently there's also new amiibo coming. So yeah,
okay. But yeah, you will have like upgraded games for the Switch 2, but we've seen that with PlayStation doing stuff like that, right? And a lot of what they announced today was Switch 2 games, a couple of Switch 2 editions, and then everything that was a publishing partner, so not Nintendo. So, like EA, Project Red, Square Enix, Ubisoft, were like them just making a Switch 2 version of games that were either upcoming or already out. So that's why I was like, okay, because they were like, okay, we need to explain to you 3 types of games. I was like, why? And then I realized it's just like upgrade schemes and SKUs and backward compatibility. And
so a compatible Switch game only Switch, that would be games like that you can just port over. Switch 2 is like Mario Kart World.
Yeah.
Right.
Then the games that have the upgrades include Mario Party Jamboree, the 2 Legend of Zeldas, Pokemon ZA is coming to both, and then whatever else may kind of come down the line. Because like I said, they're not going to abandon the people that have the old consoles. I mean, Metroid 4 is not even out yet, right? So that's going to come out with versions of both. It's kind of like where we sit. It's exactly where we sit right now on PlayStation, where you've got a 4 version and a 5 version. Yeah.
So, but and they said the Switch compatible games, the cartridges will work in the Switch 2.
That's cool.
Yeah, the cartridges will.
Yeah.
Yep.
But again, they said like certain games. So I think it's going to be a given for most Nintendo first party. I don't know how they stand on third party, like what they call their publishing partners, because there's like licensing and deals and I guess upgrades. Did they get a dev kit? Blah, blah, blah.
Maybe over time things will roll out too, is like now compatible on, because like maybe they couldn't get it to everybody to be able to get their stuff ready. I would imagine anything that's coming out in the next little while is probably thinking about it. I think that's why games like Fantasy Life are waiting. But yeah, because like those ones, but like stuff that maybe came out at launch, maybe not so much.
No, probably not. But they might look at stuff like all the like Mario Odyssey. Of course, it's going to be compatible. It might even get an upgrade. All the Luigi's Mansions, or all the brother I'm pretty sure even the smaller Nintendo games, they're just going to make them retro compatible, just because it's their bread and butter. And
what I love about that, though, Kat, is that if it's the case, and like say you have Luigi's Mansion and I don't, you can essentially do the game like rental service, the trade over to me, so I can play it for 2 weeks and then hand it back to you.
If they include it in the both the retro and the game share, yes.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. All right. The amount of games, partner games that they announced was absolutely freaking wild.
Unbelievable. It was unbelievable.
Like stuff that I never ever would have anticipated. Can we just kick this off with Elden Ring is coming to fucking Switch 2? Like what?
Cyberpunk.
What?
Cyberpunk is coming. When they said Cyberpunk, I was like, the game where you had to upgrade your PC in order to play it. Yeah. Like, that game is coming to the Switch, too?
Yeah.
What?
Like, in terms of, like, beefy games that I did not expect to make it to Switch, there's Elden Ring. There's Cyberpunk 2077. The Final Fantasy VII Remake. Civilization 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not known for optimization.
Maybe I'll play Civ 7 on a Switch, too.
That is bonkers.
Yakuza?
Yeah.
Yakuza 0 Director's Cut, yeah.
Hogwarts Legacy? that thing ran like doo-doo on my Ally.
And they put out a Switch version of that, like an OG Switch version of that. It took it forever to come out compared to the other consoles, but that's nuts. Hades 2 is coming to Switch 2, which I kind of anticipated that they would do that. Yeah. Street Fighter 6, Split Fiction, EA Sports Games, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3+4, which is not out yet. They showed off Hitman World of Assassination and Project 007, which makes total sense to have Bond and Hitman together. A new Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment, I can't even say that. It's a prequel to Tears of the Kingdom. Which, you know, when you saw that animation of all those characters coming down to fight, it was just like, wow.
I was excited, and then my wallet hurt when I thought about how much I'm gonna have to
how much
pay
it's going to cost us.
Yeah.
Deltarune is coming, but not just 1 and 2. We're going to be releasing the next 2 chapters as well. So you're going to have chapters 1, 2, 3, and 4. Borderlands 4, NBA 2K. A lot of 2K sports games, WWE too. We talked about Cyberpunk. We talked about Final Fantasy VII Remake. This blew my mind. Duskbloods, a FromSoft game exclusive to the Switch 2, coming in 2026. When they were showing that trailer, all of us were spitting out names of what we thought this could freaking be. And we're like, there's no way there's like an exclusive FromSoft game coming to Nintendo Switch 2. And here we are.
Because at first when they started, like, I give you my blood, blah, blah, we're like, Castlevania, fucking Castlevania. And
there's a vampire in this.
FromSoft logo, and we're just like,
huh?
What? And then they keep going with the trailer, and we're like, Bloodborne? Castlevania? What the fuck? And then they're just like, oh, the Duskbloods. And it turns out, like, if you dig online, it's a PvPvE.
Okay.
So I'm like,
oh, okay.
Apparently it's a multiplayer game. So I'm like, is it?
Oh,
what's PvPvE? Is it like Monster Hunter World where you grab a posse and you go kill a big monster, or is it like there's 2 teams, so you can fight against players to then you fight a boss, but also other players? Like, what the fuck?
Like a Diablo?
Maybe.
Like, the trailer to me was very I was like, I don't understand what this game is at all. I was like,
I just saw this and I was like, well, now we're definitely getting a Switch 2.
Yeah. They had this lineup of games also too, where they were showing off stuff like Witchbrook and things like that. But the game that probably everybody was just waiting on bated breath for, because every single time there's a direct, everybody's like, this game has to show up. This game has to show up. It's freaking Silk Song. Hollow Knight Silk Song. Yeah. Finally got 2025 as a release date.
And it was in the sizzle reel.
That's how big
you blinked and you missed it. I think the whole server fucking tagged Darth because we were like, did you see it? We almost missed it.
And I think it was during the glitch time too.
It
when
was.
The thing was like freaking out. We're like, we're missing stuff.
Pull out the glitch. There's a sizzle reel. We're just like, okay, game suck.
Yeah. A new Kirby game called Kirby Air Riders, which I actually am really curious to find out what that is, because to have that at the end after doing Mario Kart World, I'm like, what is this? But it's from the creator of Smash Brothers. Yeah. So, like, that's awesome. I hope it's more, like, platformy than, like, racing or anything.
When the trailer came up, at first I thought it was a new Smash.
Yeah.
Like that,
we all
like
did.
The ting,
ting,
and then it was, and I was like kind of half listening to it and half watching it, and I was like, oh, this is a new Smash, and like Kirby is a big character in Smash, but nope.
No, they said it was a successor to Kirby Air Ride, which is a game they've made before.
Yeah, a long time ago.
A long time ago. Yeah.
And then I guess the game that kind of closed out the show. Now we've more stuff to talk about, but the game that closed out the show and is probably a how we all feel right now when it comes to wanting to go into a rage room and break things up. Donkey Kong Bonanza.
Yes.
Which looks like a ton of fun. I'm really curious to see how that pans out, especially with the mechanic where it looks like you can like jump into the ground and like pound stuff out and things like that. You're like digging through holes and stuff as you like kind of. That's why I say it kind of feels like one of those rage rooms. But yeah,
like a beat 'em ups meets a like a Bayonetta, like kind of you just go around and Hulk smash everything. Everything.
Yeah, they gave a little bit of details about online mode, online like Switch Online, Nintendo Switch Online, which is of course going to carry over. They're going to have some Switch 2 exclusive GameCube classics and a new GameCube controller that is incoming that you can only purchase if you have access to Nintendo Switch Online. We definitely missed announcements and games and stuff because it was just bananas. Like Star Wars Outlaws, I remember seeing. There was a bunch of games. There was one where there was like, and this is where the show stalled out, where there was like 4 marooned characters on an island that looked really interesting. Then in the background
is just like, hi, I'm the creator of Enter the Gungeon. And we're like, what?
What? We're so confused. It was broken. There was so much that I feel like I just need to sit back for another few hours and reflect on what I saw. Maybe watch it. I'm going to be watching analysis over and over on YouTube for the next 3 weeks. Who are we kidding? Yeah. But what's next? Pre-orders. Actually, let's start with the cost. The cost of this console is not going to be the price of the Nintendo Switch original. It, in Canada, is going to cost $629.99. If you buy the bundle with the Mario Kart World, it's going to be $699.99. I got this directly from the Nintendo press release that got sent to my email.
$700 whole dollars.
I mean, it feels like I'm buying a PlayStation 5 again. So
yes. But
it is not. It is not what I. Everybody was like, it's gonna be $400. Like, yeah, $450 in the U.S.
Honestly, like if
it is in the U.S.
If I may,
now.
if I get this, I spend this $700 because I want the bundle because I want Mario Kart, and then I get Pokemon Easy, and I play Pokemon on my Switch too, and there's fucking frame rate issues.
There can't be.
I am committing war crimes.
Opening up a signal chat.
Yep, that's the way you do it now.
That's how it happens.
And Gmail apparently. Gmail. It's great.
Yeah, I mean, Kat, there can't be. They mentioned something about some sort of feature upgrade, something to do with Switch 2 when it came to Pokemon ZA. Anyway, so curious about that. Pre-orders. There was no announcement in the direct about. There was no announcement in the direct about price. Point blank. That came afterwards through online scuttlebutt, people talking, and then also press releases. Like I received in my email from the PR folks that handle the Nintendo stuff in Canada. Pre-orders are going to start April 9th at select retailers. That I got from a press release as well, so that it's legit and real, because sometimes I don't believe the shit that I read on the internet. But there was, and there still is, this, if you go onto the Nintendo website and you go to the Switch 2 thing, there's a big-ass button that says how to buy. And when you go to that page, you can sign up to show your interest and desire to buy a Nintendo Switch 2. The interesting thing about this, which Kat and I both did this right off the get-go, but the interesting thing about this process is how Nintendo is attempting to battle scalpers. So I want to bring you guys through the FAQ that they have on this page where you submit. So first off, right off the bat, if you wanted to even go and click on something, there was no price, there was no nothing. If you wanted to figure out what this, how to like put in your, yes, I would like to know more, you had to log in with your Nintendo account. Barrier number 1, you needed a Nintendo account. Then, in the section, once you got down further, you got to choose whether you wanted the bundle or not. Then there was a whole bunch of like frequently asked questions, little like bubbles that you click on and it opens up and it offers you more details. The very first one says, when will I be notified about my invitation to purchase a Nintendo Switch 2? Nintendo account holders in the US and Canada who are at least 18 years or old are eligible. Hold on. Who are at least 18 years old are eligible to register. So essentially, you got to be 18 or older to be able to do it. The first batch of invitations are going to go out starting May 8th, 2025, with additional batches of invitations, emails sent periodically until purchasing on My Nintendo Store is open to everyone. So this is later, almost a month to a day later than where you might see it across like EB Games and Best Buy and Amazon and wherever else if you're going to pre-order. Initial invitation emails will be delivered at a first-come, first-served basis to eligible registrants who meet the priority criteria. Invitees will have 72 hours from the time when the email is sent to complete their purchase. Okay, that makes sense. Here is the loaded bullet. Priority requirements are as follows. As of 4/2/2025, today, you, 1, must have been the one who purchased the Nintendo Switch Online membership. 2, you must have had any paid Nintendo Switch Online membership for a minimum of 12 months.
Yep.
And 3, you must have opted in to share gameplay data and have at least 50 hours total gameplay hours. So I fit that criteria, but poor Catherine does not.
No, because we made a family with 6 random people, and it's my friend Uva who owns the account.
Well, there's Venmo, Kat.
I mean, she is unemployed. Maybe she has time to like sit and get me a pre-order.
Well, that's the thing. I'm still going to try for the pre-order on the 9th, nonetheless.
Yeah, I am too.
Just straight up, because I'm not leaving it into the hands of the Nintendo gods for May 8th. Additional things you may need to know if you go through the Nintendo system. What payment types are accepted, and when do I pay? Full payment is required at the time of checkout. My Nintendo Store accepts Visa, MasterCard, Google Pay, Apple Pay as payment methods. And please note that My Nintendo Store does not accept Nintendo eShop gift cards. Good to know. Yep. Where do you ship? Can I pick it from a store? The orders of the Nintendo Switch 2 will be shipped to the U.S., including U.S. territories and Canada. Shipping is available P.O. boxes, U.S. and Canada. My Nintendo Store orders cannot be picked up from retail locations, including the Nintendo New York and Nintendo San Francisco stores. And when will you get it? Or it will be shipped after purchase. Your purchase window will be shown in your invitation email, and your approximate ship date will be provided at the time of ordering. Please note that release date delivery is not guaranteed due to processing and shipment times. So that makes me feel like I'm just going to be better off buying it from Amazon, Best Buy, EB Games, where I would say the source, but that doesn't exist anymore. So yeah, that's where that lands. Ladies, I guess we're all pre-ordering or attempting to next Wednesday.
Yes.
Yeah, I said I wasn't, but then Nintendo made sure I ate crow.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah. It's really smart of Nintendo actually to be competitive. I know that the price point, like initially, some people think is really high, but with the amount of games that you're going to be able to have access to pretty much like day one, it is, if you're looking for a handheld and you think like the Ally or the Steam Deck or the Lenovo Go is just way out of your price point, because I'm looking at it right now, like on Best Buy. I paid $500 for my Ally, and I got or Ally, sorry, and then I got like the higher processor. Right now, that is at $799 USD. So
wow.
it's gone up $400 since
That's
I bought
crazy.
it. Since I bought it, and so for the Switch 2 being at $449 USD at launch without any games, that's like, it's about half the cost. So if you're someone that's looking to get into the handheld market that isn't like totally sure if it's like going to be a good thing for you to do, you know that the docking for the Nintendo Switch 2 is going to be great with your TV. The Ally dock is terrible. I can't really play games on my TV with my Ally. So I actually kind of feel like this might take a big chunk out of the handheld market just because the price point is so good and the amount of games you can play on it.
Yeah. And there's some stuff at different places about like the price of games too. Like if you're going to go buy them, if you want Mario Kart World, you might as well buy the bundle because essentially they've knocked like $30 off the price of the game. And like I was seeing different reports online of like, I think Jeff Neely posted that Mario Kart World was going to be $80 US. Yep. So like it's going to be more expensive here in Canada. So yeah, I mean, it costs more money to make these things. Shit's just more expensive. It's where we are. We're not going to be able to play what we paid before, and this is also on way better tech at current tech standards compared to where the Switch was when it initially launched back in 2017.
I think this is great. Like I think this is a really good move by Nintendo. Especially I didn't anticipate all the games, but I thought, man, they are going to be just as they were back in 2017 with the original Switch. They're just going to be paving the way for handhelds.
But also, like, it's because it's a Nintendo machine and it plays Nintendo games. This is why I have a Switch and not an Ally or a Steam Deck.
Yeah.
If I want to play Mario Kart, I got to get the fucking Nintendo game. It's like the nostalgia, the vice grip the nostalgia has on us for this fucking hardware. Yeah. But then again, they also do it well enough.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Well enough. Like, I know I yell about the Switch being, like, laggy and shit, but it was still, like, the shit compared to, like...
The concept alone.
Yeah.
The amount, how successful it's been, the concept that you can take it with you wherever, but then also play on your TV. The concept of the Joy-Cons coming off. How many other people have now started to try and copy that? And then just the IP. The IP, like Animal Crossing, Mario, Zelda. Like, it's just the Metroid, Splatoon, Pikmin. Like, that's what you're paying for, right? Like, that's what you're... And there's a reason why. They're fucking great. So yeah, next steps, I guess, is pre-orders. And then more that we're going to probably hear is going to come during... There's a whole bunch of these Nintendo Switch 2 experience events happening all over the world over the next few months. They go from April into May. The Canadian one is here in Toronto on April 25th to 27th. So people will be... And people could sign up to get access to that a while back. So curious to see. I had signed up for it. So we'll see what happens. And yeah, it's going to be a fun next few months, considering like... At the beginning of the press conference, I thought for some reason with all the games they were announcing and the way they were talking and everything, I didn't think this console was going to come in June. I thought for sure it was coming in like October or November. So I'm really happy it's coming so soon. And it's really soon when you think about it.
Oh yeah, it's around the corner.
I think Nintendo is honestly, this strategy feels like, all right, summer, get the fucking nerds out of the way. So that Christmas can be the parents getting shit for their kids, right?
Yep.
That's what it feels like. It's just like, you fucking nerds that just kind of like want to pre-order and min-max everything and like just like, okay, get your first batch is out. All right, Christmas. All right, now we need like to have stock for the parents that are just walking into fucking Best Buy or Toys R Us and be like, my kid said he wants to play the Mario World.
And he wants to play the Mario Forza.
It's an expensive thing to purchase for a child, though.
Well, but consoles, haven't they always been, though?
I know, they always feel super, super expensive. But there's something about this one that just feels...
Well,
it feels like in line with an Xbox and a PlayStation 5.
It is.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yes, it is.
More so than the previous iteration did.
But those have also doubled
I know.
Price.
It's
So it's
crazy.
like in essence, they just moved the needle. Where now Nintendo is still the low end.
It's still, unless you're buying like a Series S.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I have to believe that there's going to be, between this drop and Christmas, there's going to be like a special edition.
Oh,
A special edition type of console that's going to drop too. So
or
like
different bundles.
Or a different bundle. Yeah, so there's going to be more that's coming out. So they're like, okay, all you early adopters, like, we know that you've been waiting forever. Here's your black, here's your black,
Nintendo Switch.
Simple,
basic.
yes, basic Nintendo Switch, and then you're going to have to buy something shinier later. So, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm not waiting for a nice bundle because, like, on top of that, like, for a while, Pascal was talking about like maybe getting a copy of Mario Kart 8 on Switch because I have it on Wii U.
I have a Switch copy.
Yeah, to just have Mario Kart and to play and to fuck around because it's the kind of game that we usually go back to a lot. And I was like, man, and then they teased the Switch 2. I was like, let's wait. And now today with the announcement with Mario Kart World, he was like, yeah, let's wait. And I was like, oh, should we buy it? He's like, you're the person who buys console. And I was like, it's my money? He was like, yeah. And I was like, you're right. It's like, to be honest, like, I buy games and console. He pays for groceries and the vet bills. I think
It's a good deal.
It's a good deal.
I think we're like, in terms of like what are his expensive, I think food and our aging cat are the two most expensive things besides the gaming hardware here. So I was like, you know what, that's fair. That's fucking fair.
Well, ladies, I think that wraps up everything. There is going to be more and more news stories that pop off that we'll be covering over the course of the next few weeks, considering the events, the other directs that they said they're going to do, because I think they said they were going to do a dedicated one on Mario Kart. They're going to do one on Duskbloods, I think. Like, there's a whole bunch that they had talked about in there. Plus, they're just going to trickle out the information. This is the fun time for video games. This is the hype time when I get excited. And I'm just going to do girl math, where essentially I pre-order it and then it's already paid for before the console only gets here. And I get here and I'm like, yeah, I don't have to pay anything
It's
for
free.
this.
There you go. Amazing. I love it.
I'm definitely doing girl math. Listen, and you know what? We sat down together, my spouse and I, to talk like money and retirement and savings and like planning money for fun, for trips.
Good.
And for things like that. So, we already planned for Mexico. We were planning for a trip next year. I'm like, guess what? $1,000 of that for fun money is going to a Switch 2, so I can beat his ass on the regular Mario
It's all
Kart
about the
World.
fun memories that you're
Priorities,
gonna make, right?
man.
Exactly. And then when we go on the trip, we'll have a nice console to bring with us so that I can still beat his ass as Mario Kart
Yeah, he can't forget.
internationally.
I won't feel too precious about me bringing the Switch down to Mexico and playing it on the edge of the pool, because I know we're going to play Mario Party and Mario Kart at the edge of the pool, considering a new one will be coming 2 weeks by the time we get back.
Fun.
Exactly. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
Whatever's
ladies.
not compatible, I'll give to my brother. For,
Yeah, there
for
you
his
go.
Kids.
Yeah. I think that closes out the show for this week. This was exciting to change our schedule around to make it work for this event, but I feel like it was worth it, because we would have been
100%.
we would have released that episode tomorrow and been like, woof.
Yeah.
All right. As always, check out the show notes on girlsongames.ca for links to all the stories mentioned in this episode, which is essentially going to be the directs. If you have the power to rate and review this podcast wherever you're consuming it, that'd be much appreciated. Why? It helps with discovery, pushes us up in the rankings, and we love to hear what you have to say. It helps us build our show. Thank you, Kat. Thank you, Joelle, for being on the podcast. I'd like you to shout out your social media handles so people can follow you anywhere and everywhere online. Catherine, where can people find you?
I am CSDSBINS. I'm currently only active on Blue Sky and Instagram. But I am a daily shit poster in the Girls on Games Discord.
Joelle, how about you?
People can find me on Instagram at JoelleLauren87. on Blue Sky at Joelle Lauren, but always hanging out and chatting on the Girls on Games Discord. Come and say hi.
And I am Leah Jewer on most social media platforms, but of course, you want to know everything there is to know about Girls on Games. You can track us down at The Girls on Games on X and Facebook, just Girls on Games on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, and TikTok, discord.me/Girls on Games to continue this conversation and more. But of course, you ever need to know anything at all, you can track it down at our home base. That's our website, girlsongames.ca. Thank you, Kat. Thanks, Joelle. Thank you, Simon, for editing this on like a moment's notice since I need to go to a hockey game now. Much appreciated, bud. And, yeah, exciting times. I guess we'll reflect on Monday when we record again, and then hopefully get some pre-orders in next Wednesday. Enjoy your week, everybody. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.